Yo, we here with Top Flight Empire, man, all the way from Colorado in the city. We got, King Tef in the building, Hypnotic in the building, man. What's going on, guys?
Not much, man. Just out here. We've been building an app, of course, to help artists. So we out here checking the landscape, checking the venues, everything like that we can start building and helping artists live off music the way we did for 16 years.
Facts. All right, let's go. We're going to get to the app definitely, but let's start from the beginning. Where you guys originally, born?
Well, I was actually born in Aurora and then went back and forth to a couple other places because my parents lived on the East Coast at one point, and then we ended up coming back to Colorado Springs, and so I'm from Colorado, but was born in Aurora.
Me, I'm a good old DPS kid. I was born in Denver, raised in Littleton, went to Denver public schools. Colorado kid. I lived in Texas for a long time. That was all my family's from Texas, from everywhere from Port Arthur to Houston to Galveston, but
That's crazy. I didn't even know that.
yeah, I'm
Did you visit Texas often? Or?
I did as I was young a lot, but as I got older, not as much. I think last time I lived there was probably 2001, 2, 3, 4 or something.
No, okay.
And then I didn't come back until we lived out here in Austin a couple years ago for this app thing.
Nice. So how was y'all childhood? How was y'all, raised? How was y'all high school experience?
Well, I had cancer when I was young. So when I was little, around 7 years old, I ended up having cancer, and I had my kidney removed. And so I was sick for a good little stint when I was super young. I then end up in high school. So that kind of changed my view of people and everything like that. Because when you see people that try to talk crazy about like a kid with cancer, that's what made me so quick with the tongue when I be talking crazy on Instagram when I talk crazy about people. You know what I'm saying? So I just be it made me learn how to I guess you can say respond to people quick, and then I ended up becoming to a place where I got real focused on what I needed to do because I just knew people weren't around me for my best interest in life other than my parents. You know what I'm saying? My parents and my brother. And then I lost my brother in my last year of high school. He ended up passing away. And from that point forward, that's when I started to believe in I wanted to do some rap because I stopped playing basketball because right when he passed away, I just didn't like it no more. And then I went into rapping because everyone was like, "Can you rap like your brother Johan?" And I was like, "Let me see, because I had never rapped a day in my life."
Wow.
And so I just while I was in college, I was just kind of sitting there thinking about it. And then when I got out of college, I just took it seriously.
What let's go back to the cancer. How old was you when you say you had cancer?
Between 7 and 9.
So that's when you battled it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What how did you discover you had it? And
it's crazy because what happened was I was riding my bicycle and I fell off my bike and the bar handle hit my side and it swole up. So it swole up the size of a grapefruit. And when it swole the size of a grapefruit, we went to the hospital and everything like that, and then we found out oh, he got cancer. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And so I was in the hospital for I think it was close to almost a full year. And then so I did 1 grade as homeschooled right after that, trying to get healthy and everything like that. And then, yeah, man, it was a crazy experience because being that young and having to deal with the idea of death becomes crazy because you're sitting there thinking you can actually go any moment.
Yeah.
And the good thing is my parents kept me I guess you can say they never really showed how bad it was. So it always seemed to me, I was kind of yo, I'm going to get back and jump back. And they always made me feel like that. This was just something I had to get through. So it really helped me because I never really felt super tore down about it. So, yeah, man. Shit's
that's
crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw, briefly that you was going through it, but I wanted to talk to you and see, more of it. But, yeah, just what was the... So I'm guessing you went through chemo, probably?
Yeah, I went through chemo.
How was that? Because I've heard that's one of the worst parts of it.
It's basically, you know how they say you basically killing off the tumor and you kill off almost you almost kill off yourself in some aspects because it's you lose your hair, everything like that, and you're just dealing with. But I'll never regret doing chemo, because I know some people say that, but then that's what kind of saved my life. You know what I'm saying? So I can't never turn against it, because it saved my life. Like, my dad ended up getting a doctor that came out of Seattle, because no one had, at that time, there wasn't anyone in Denver that had removed that type of tumor. And they got a doctor named Dr. Thrasher, and he came out from Seattle and removed the tumor.
Man, shout out Dr. Thrasher. Mm-hmm. Where was the tumor at? Was it on your side? It was
on my kidney.
Oh, man. Mm-hmm. Did they catch it early, or was it?
I was stage 3.
Sheesh.
Yeah, so I was.
That's just crazy that you happened to fall off the bike, and that's kind of what discovered it.
Yeah. So it saved me, because I was stage 3 and didn't have no nothing showed, you know what I'm saying? Like, no symptoms of it. So I'm like sitting there and like no symptoms. I'm just a regular kid just playing and everything like that. And then just that bike fall was the difference, because it hit it and irritated it. And so it swole up.
Boy, that's crazy. Golly, well, I'm glad you made it through. I'm, a lot of people happy you made it through. Like I said, you inspired so many people, man. Hypnotic, how was your childhood, my guy?
Man, childhood was different. So I grew up about 5 minutes from Columbine High School. Lived in a little place in Littleton. It was called the Blue Ghetto. It was all these cops in this area. That's why they called it that. But it was a cool childhood. You know what I mean? Like just normal neighborhood stuff. What happened was I ended up getting bussed over to a school in DPS. So I didn't go to Columbine or any of the schools around that surrounding area, but it's kind of where I learned pretty much everything. I say, like, how to hustle and how to like survive. I think what school kind of taught me that stuff. Started clicking up with a whole bunch of people in that area, and then really was in the supply and demand business from outside areas, neighborhoods, hoods, bringing it into Littleton, and kind of built my name up that way. But then a day before I graduated, my best friend died. So he was playing Russian roulette.
Oh, man. 5
bullets in a 6-chamber, and he died in front of 2 of my other friends, but it's like my best friend. So that's what really kind of shifted my mindset. Like right before that, I was kind of, back then you couldn't really rap and just go to studios. So it was all like ADAT. It was still the ADAT days. And I was kind of getting into it, but after he died, it kind of shifted my mindset. And all my friends were going off to college. I didn't do nothing, and I was like, I kicked out of my house, and life kind of took a turn downhill after that. Got real big into a lot of bad shit, and music kind of ended up saving my life in a sense of like, if I didn't have it became the therapy for all the situations I was into. Because I kept losing people. It was like my best friend died. That really screwed me up. And then a bunch of people were just dying. Like every week it was like a new death, a new death, a new death. People I knew, it's either murder, suicide, or, just random. Like it kind of got to me. And then it got so bad where I was living. My mom was like, you got to ship me off to Texas to go live with my uncle. She was like, you're going to be dead or in jail if you don't get out of here. I went out to Texas, lived there for a few years, kind of got away from everything. And then the music called me back. And then I met someone in Colorado that was like, was able to record songs and do shows. So that's when I went back and kind of put full force into that.
Before we get to the music, talk a little bit about Columbine. Like, how old was you, or what like grade was you in when that happened? Do you remember that?
Yeah. I was down the block when it happened. So I would mess with girls over at the school. There's a school, Bear Creek, that was like 10 minutes. It was a 10-minute radius. Like I lived 10 minutes from Columbine, and then there was 10 minutes the school I was at. And the school got locked down at the time, so I was over at this other school trying to mess with this girl, and I just remember every school started getting locked down. It was crazy because some of the homies I was with at the time, like I had a couple homies that went and robbed a gun store the second it happened, and they ended up getting caught because it was like I don't know, it was just like it was a whirlwind of events. But to me, yeah, because it was crazy. I knew a girl who was in the my homie was dating a girl that was in the cafeteria at the time. So it was crazy. It was like Clinton came like down right by that park. I don't know. It was just it was it's kind of like a dream. Like everything was going on because Columbine wasn't really a bad school. It was like a nice neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
I was in like people at my school. They would get shot from gang stuff or whatever. But over here it was like a mass murder. So it was just like world seemed like a dream at the time. And then my homie died. I think Columbine happened, and then my homie died like a month after. Or 2 months after that. So it was just like back to back to back, all this murder, all this killing, all this stuff, and it kind of fucked me up, I think.
That's a lot to go through. So when did you get into music? Like, what was your first kind of introduction to like, oh, I want to be an artist?
I mean, I wanted to be when I was a kid. I used to watch like those, in what are they at school when people would like talent shows and stuff. I would see people. So I first wanted to be like a rocker or something, but I tried to play guitar. Couldn't do that. Couldn't sing. And that was like my first like into that, because some of my cousins in Texas were in bands and stuff. So I've been in like mosh pits. I kind of wanted to go that route, but I just couldn't get into it. And then when I got to high school and started getting into the game a little bit different, everyone was rapping and freestyling, and it was just like, I think, was it Master P and shit was popping then? I don't know. It's just, it was this moment. I'm dating myself how old I am, but at the same time, like, I just kept seeing kids do it, and then I started freestyling. I didn't really even take it that serious. There's a couple kids I knew who took it a little more serious, but I just messed around with it. And then after my friend died, that was the first time I started rapping on like tape recorders, and I would make songs about real life stuff, so it would attach to the people that I was around, and it was like I could talk about stories and things that were going on, and I was real good at freestyling at the time, so it just kind of like, it was therapy to me, but also everyone was like, man, I love this. This is like, it was helping them. So that's what kind of stuck with me.
Thanks. Can you tell, when did you first, like, you said your brother, you wanted to, because they're saying, can you rap like your brother? That was the first time you was like, I'm going to try to be a rapper, or did you kind of have aspirations before that, just never really said nothing?
I would scribble stuff down when he would want me to, but then I was like a basketball player, so then I was kind of like, like just like every basketball player, you write a little rap every once in a while and shit, you know what I'm saying? But like when my brother passed away, and everyone just kept saying it, so then my freshman year in college and sophomore year in college, people would keep asking me like, yo, can you rap like your brother? Can you rap like your brother? And then I would just like start kind of recording some stuff and see what would happen. And from that point forward, it was just like I ended up getting, the craziest thing happened. Like, so I started rapping, and then I ended up getting on this show that was in Denver at what was that, Denver Coliseum? Was that at that point? It was called Denver.
Wayne?
Yeah, and it was like I won a contest, and this being like,
was that your first show?
No, I had 2 other shows before that. So I had 2 other shows. So this is just mad random. I had 2 random shows at my school, which was put on by me. So they are like packed shows.
That's dope.
You know what I'm saying?
Taking advantage.
Yeah. So then I was putting them at my school, and then I had like, I think it was like maybe 3 shows, because I had 1 show with the homies, and then after that I ended up going through this contest, and I do this contest where you had to perform at like 4 shows, and then whoever wins gets on this Denver Coliseum show. And back then it was. The Denver Coliseum show it was Lil Scrappy, Baby Bash, Mobb Deep, and Lil Wayne and Baby.
Oh, that's crazy.
And it was like, and I win it. And
that's crazy.
When I won it, I'm sitting there like, yo, maybe I should rap for real, because maybe I'm, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then, to me, in my like when I look back, I'm like, yo, I was horrible. But but I feel like, because for a long time when I was a kid, I grew up in like, back in the pop locking days and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. So I used to be able to dance like pop lock, like Usher and Michael Jackson, all that shit like that.
Yeah.
And I had actually done some shows like touring as like a Michael Jackson imitation at one point in college.
Dope.
And so when I would perform, I knew how to perform real good. So then it was like, okay, I can perform real good. So I think people like caught on to how well I could perform at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I just added the raps to it. And then it was like, when it got me there, I was like, yo, I might need to take this seriously for real.
No, yeah, performing in front of all those artists you just mentioned to make you want to take it serious.
Yeah.
If that don't inspire you, I don't know what will. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when did y'all like first connect? When did y'all meet?
Probably 5 years, 6 years later
Yeah,
than when we started.
Well, that's 2 years like 4 years from me.
I didn't meet you until 2007?
Like 6, 7. And in the 6, 7. And then so like that's like 3-4 years for me. And so like the weird thing that happened with me and him was, we end up getting this, and this is super random. They end up having another contest, which was to open for Paul Wall. Shout out Paul Wall in Texas. We in Texas right now, so shout out to Paul Wall.
Was it the radio stations running these contests?
This was promoters.
This was promoters that did. Yeah, both of those are all promoters.
That's dope.
And the promoters that did the Paul Wall show, I knew a girl. He knew the same girl, but my homie knew this girl, and they ended up doing this. Like, he didn't have to go through it, but I went through a competition that was at this like club in Denver at the time, and it was like I get over there and I'm like rolling with a crew. Shout out to at that time it was this crew named Mob Style, and I had this song called On Tilt, which was my like kind of like claim to fame when I first started rapping. And I had this song, and I told the other dude that was the head of the record label was going to perform. But when we got there, he was like, "Yo, I'm not gonna perform at this," because he didn't think it was gonna turn into the Paul Wall show at the time. And he was like, "Yo, you go." He was like, I was like, "I want to do it," and he was like, "You go ahead and do it." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I was like, "All right, I got this song, on tilt, like, so let's play this." You know what I'm saying? And like, I was one of them young kids at the time, just like, "Oh, I'm gonna rap every time I get to a place,"
Exactly.
And I'm in there, and it's like it was like super like the venue at that time was like I guess you could say like kind of split between like sides of like. I guess you kind of call it like gang situations, like so it's kind of split. So it's like all dudes in there and like some girls that roll with them. But then I'm in there like, yo, I'm about to turn up, like I'm just gonna do my thing. And so like I'm the only dude that's on that tip because everybody else is rapping like in a way that's like I guess you could say the rap that controlled Denver out the gate a long time ago was more, like West Coast driven.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I remember that sound.
And like I grew up where when I'm going back with my parents, I'm like being in the South tons of times. And like I'm listening to like T.I. before he gets signed and stuff like that. So my music sounds totally different. Like my music is like, so even with the song like On Tilt, I was wearing my hat on tilt because that's how dudes wore it out there,
Yeah.
And so like I'm sitting there like, yo, I'm gonna spit this real quick and get it to him. And like I'm going crazy and the dude's just looking like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just giving my all out there. And niggas is just like, who this nigga up here? But then you can't deny that I'm turning up. You know what I'm saying?
Putting on the show.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So then the girls is kind of screaming like, get it? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, I'm on it. And then they were like, he wins. You know what I'm saying? And so I get to Paul Wall and he didn't have to do that, and they put him on Paul Wall.
Wow.
And so I'm like, he's the other, like, so it's like four of us, and four of us make it on there, and like, I kept seeing him, and then like, after that moment at Paul Wall, like, we talked and stuff like that, but he goes back and he does venues himself. So he's like selling out like Herman's Hideaway and like 300-person venues himself. I'm on the other side of town doing shows at like clubs. So I'm doing like, back then it was this place called DC 10 and it was a place called Loft, and I'm doing shows at those, and I end up becoming a promoter to where I could put my own videos on the walls in the clubs because they used to have the, you know what I'm saying, the screens all over the clubs. So I would put my things on in there, and I just play my shit all night. So we keep seeing each other and running into each other, and we're like, yo, we need to just do something together. You know what I'm saying? So one weekend, I remember I go to his house and we record like a whole album like in like 2 days. God. And it's like, we're like, yo, like, let's see where this really goes. And he knew some promoters at the time, which I'm gonna leave nameless because he knew some promoters at the time, and they're throwing some big shows, and they're like, it's some big artists on these shows, like big artists at the time. And it's at this venue called the Gothic Theater. And at that point, the Gothic Theater only would put on national artists that were rap. They wouldn't put independent rappers. And a lot of that dealt with because the whole like kind of like gangster vibe that was coming off from the rap. And there was a lot of like shootings that were going downtown at that time. You know what I'm saying? Because that's like around the time that Durant Williams, R.I.P., passed away to Bronco. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was tons of Cac and them got shot, R.I.P. Cac. And Interstate Ike got shot, and like tons of that was going on at that time. And so like a lot of the big venues wouldn't allow independent rapping. Yeah. So they put on these big shows. Me and Hip are like, yo, we got a fan base. Like, I got fans, he got fans. We just need to get to one of these big shows. The promoters at the time would not let us anything. And like, we knew their artists weren't selling tickets, and we were like, yo, we'll sell like 100 tickets to this mug just to get on. They was like, nope, because they weren't cool. Like, we weren't cool with them. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't let nothing go.
They didn't even want the money.
Me and him were like, yo, what if we rent out the same venue 2 weeks later after these big shows going? And the Gothic's 1,000-person venue. You know what I'm saying? So we're like, what if we rent this out 2 weeks later and we do me and him? We ended up finding out that through this other person that was helping with that, he was like, well, they won't put no rappers on it independent as the headliner right now because of what's going on, because they're going to believe the crowd's going to be rowdy. And so we were like, yo, we're going to put a rock group on here and say the rock group's headlining. and then we're gonna come over there and
crazy.
we're gonna do us. So then the night of, we put the rock group on at 6:00. At 6 p.m. and just had them leave after, and then you can't stop the show now.
Can't.
Because now it's
business
already
is
on
done.
the go. Yeah. And see, the way we promoted it is we sold 500 tickets, and then the rest of the tickets we actually gave away for free because we were like, yo, if we can fill this, it's gonna make a look towards everybody to make everybody go like, oh, these dudes is the truth right now. You know what I'm saying? So then we gave the other 500 away, and then we was like, okay, let's go into this, and we packed the place out. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And it was like jam packed. And it was the first group that really like had done it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Independently.
Yeah. And so when we did that, we did numbers, and that was kind of set off of me and him being top flight.
We went into that with a crew. There's probably like 9 or 10 of us, maybe 15. That was a group because he had some management at the time. Was trying to put us together, and I had some crew. We both had our whole crew, but after that, me and him we matched each other's work. And so everyone kind of trickled out quick. You find out in your team who's worth it when you give them a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when they actually got to go to work.
Yeah, because they have to compare to what me and him are doing at that level. If you want your spot, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at that time, it was kind of like it was top flight. Well, we were top flight, but top flight was kind of my thing because we in high school we called ourselves top flight because next Friday.
Oh, that's where it came from.
Yeah, I had a homie named Jay that acted just like Mike Epps. He was like he was just like a real version of the Mike Epps in that like how that character acts.
Yeah.
That's how my guy acted like naturally. Like that's his regular life. So we would always say the crew was top flight because he acted like that all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like one of the dudes that act like he can fight, can't fight really like that. And then he talk crazy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know too familiar.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so we would always, we'd always be like top flight of the world, and people would call us that. So then by the time it got to the point where me and him were around, it was like he didn't have a really crew name, and I had my crew name, and then we were kind of like, yo, let's just make it all top flight. But it was like at first you would see the billboards and the Gothic would have like King Tef on one side and Hypnotic on the other side. Yeah. And so, but then we finally just formed it and just said, well, we're just gonna call ourselves Top Flight all the time.
Was you cool with the name Top Flight Hypnotic?
I was cool with it, man. It was, I mean, we were already, it was probably a couple years in before we decided. It was getting to a point where they would leave one of our names off or they'd misspell one of our names. It'd be like
King Tef with 2 F's.
Yeah.
Or, Hypnotic with an O. And it was like, we kept seeing that. And then we were like, well, let's just go under one, because it was tons of like media outlets that would mess it up like all the time. And it didn't help that we had like conflict with the media outlets in Denver. So it was kind of like,
we thought it was intentional anyway.
Yeah, we thought it was intentional. So we took it some type of way, because when we would headline these big venues, they would spell our name wrong and the flyer would be on the next page. So I'm like, are they doing this intentionally? Like, is this, you know what I'm saying? Like, is this intent? And then, they get into this point where they like only want their homies to win. Mm-hmm. And so when you want and you don't tell the truth, I always say like, you have to, if a good media outlet tells the truth, you know what I'm saying? Some point, you know what I'm saying? The opinionated piece of it is cool, but then you can lead these dudes astray if you don't acknowledge what the truth is.
Yep.
And if you don't acknowledge what me and Hip were doing at that time, then it was kind of like, okay, well, I guess it's beef, because you know what I'm saying? Because you're saying these other dudes, but then I'm putting 1,000 people in a venue, and these dudes ain't putting 100. You know what I'm saying? So then it's like, at that point, it became that, and then that's when we decided to go just Top Flight, because they actually put him at an award show. He through like the People's Choice, they basically voted for him to be number one. Wow. And when they voted for him to be number one, he went to the venue to pick up the award, and they actually didn't even have his name on the list to go in.
Now that's cool. That seems a little intentional.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So then it starts looking intentional to me. And then we're like, yo, well, if don't nobody want to say nothing about this, then I'll just grind and just prove it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm, so.
No one helped us. We just built everything we needed to be successful and started doing everything ourselves, down to the videos.
Yeah, we shot our own videos, everything.
Booked our own shows. And that's kind of how we kind of built the empire of this,
Oh, hold on, y'all was filming and y'all shooting your own videos?
We shoot our own videos.
Shoot our own videos. So at one point it got to the point where we was like, back then, videos used to be like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it was like, the one thing we looked at was, we were like, well, we got to shoot way more videos right now, because at that point nobody had videos really like that. So it was like, if you oversaturate the video game, that makes it look like you're bigger than everybody else. So what we ended up doing was we got a sponsor to pay for our first camera when DSLR cameras first came out.
Yeah.
And we had a sponsor cover it for us. He actually got it. And he was like, yo, let's try to figure out how to shoot all these videos. And so I sat with it and just figured out how to shoot music videos. I was like, okay, well, we're going to shoot a video to everything. So even when you see, even to this day, like sometimes you'll see videos that we have and like I'm holding like the tripod and everything like that, and he's in front of the camera, and then we would switch. Then we started finding people that we could hand the camera to and be like, shoot this exactly, and then we will both be in it. You know what I'm saying? But then we would do everything because we wanted to cut out all the politics. Yeah. Because like dudes get into I only shoot videos for Tony
middleman.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I know. I only do this for him, and it was tedious. So I'm sitting there like, yo, like I'm gonna shoot all my videos. We're gonna book all our shows. We're gonna do everything that we need to do ourselves because I'm not waiting.
In-house.
We had TV shows. We had everything, and it was just like
that's crazy. I had no idea y'all was shooting y'all own videos because they was dope quality videos. You know what I'm saying?
We would do our live shows. Like
we would record on stage, sit a tripod, and sometimes spin the tripod around when the other person rapping, or one dude hold it while the other dude rapping. You know what I'm saying? So we could get the angle, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because the angle I want is like it has to show the crowd and show him.
Yeah.
And if a video dude didn't want to come on tour or something like that, then I'm gonna hold the camera while he raps, and I'm gonna hold it like that and get the shot because the crowd going crazy. And then he's gonna hold it for me and get the shot, and then because all that matters is after the show what it looked like. You know,
facts.
That's what people gonna remember.
Facts.
You know, like so that's what we did. Like
so now I know y'all had a I can't think of his name right now. A manager at one point.
Oh yeah.
What's his
Fogo?
Yeah. The
Mike.
Yeah. So when did he come into the picture? Because I saw a little elevation when he came into the picture. It just seemed like more
so
money
was
being around.
So I was diving into the movie game at the time. I was about to shoot a movie, and I met this dude who ended up doing prison for a long time down in Texas, I think. But I was about to shoot a movie, and we were kind of on we were kind of deciding what we were gonna do because our group was it was more than just me and him. It was me, you, and we had another person that was singing with us, and we were kind of like, where are we gonna go with this?
So at the time, like I knew Mike. He went to college with my best friend, and so I kind of knew Mike from back in the day. And he hit me up, and he was kind of like, "Yo, like, what are y'all doing?" And we were kind of on an independent route. He had friends in LA and stuff like that, and he was kind of like, "Well, have you ever thought about going into the like the music industry, like for real?"
Yeah.
The weird thing about this is that all this time, like, me and him were making a good bit of money.
We were living full time.
You know what I'm saying?
Music.
Like off music. So then what people seen and what was the truth are very like blurred here. Mm-hmm. But then at the same space, he's like, yo, come to the music industry and let's do stuff in the music industry. So then we were like, yo, let's go into the music industry with him and see what happens. So we keep going out to LA, almost basically like living in LA.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff like the features and stuff like that are because of that situation. We started hanging around people that were like kind of like the big wigs of the industry.
I seen the elevation.
Yeah, and we started hanging around all of them and stuff like that. The weird thing about this, like that part of the story, is a lot of our change of direction is because a lot of the stuff we didn't like then. So we get into the industry and like I'm very like I can't hang with any niggas that I don't like for money. Like, there's no reason I'm gonna hang with a nigga that I don't like. Like, there's nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't make a song with him. I can't anything like that because if I don't just like him, I just don't like him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we come from a different space because if me and Hip are making money, like doing our independent thing, then when I'm over here, I don't need it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting there in my mind like, yo, like I can go back and do what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can always go back and just, you know, like work how I work. So then I never cared for the fame because, as I said, I got into this for my brother. So then it wasn't like I'm like, I need the fame and all this and stuff like that. Like, I already was a popping basketball player that got girls and all this stuff like that. So it wasn't nothing like I wanted all that.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, hey, I'll take a chance on it because it was just a different alley that I'd never seen in my life. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I was like, yo, I'll go over here. And when you get around situations that you just not comfortable with, me and him as people, that's where we're super similar because both of us don't like it.
Yeah.
And so it gets to the point where it's like the music becomes like work, and it's like, yo, like something could happen to where I do something to a nigga or he does something to somebody, and then it's gonna look fucked up.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh well, like I don't like this dude, so if I just haul off on this dude or something like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna be on the front page, and it's gonna be like, oh, Sean hit this famous dude. You know what I'm saying? That's what they gonna say, and then it's gonna be like, and it's just my career that just lays on that, and I go to jail, and I got people to feed.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
then my argument the entire time was like, yo, I can do this independently, and I can build something bigger. But everyone had to be on board, and that's where me and our manager at that time would clash. So then I'm sitting there like, because the same idea that kind of goes into what becomes like the app that we're going to talk about later is how I wanted to control community to be like, this is how artists should pop. Because to me, what happens in the music industry is I don't feel it's the truth of who actually is the best.
Yeah.
It's kind of like who had money, or it's who liked who.
Yep.
Because the first thing they always tell you is be cool with this nigga over here, and I don't want to be cool. Like I don't want to go party. I don't want like we're seeing this now with big name artists.
Yeah.
Because it's like all these parties and stuff that they have. Like I don't want to party. I don't want anything. Like I'm just a dude that likes to. Hey, I want to go rap. I want to go eat, and I want to go home. And like if I can perform and then go home, like that's what I felt like, because I wasn't really a party dude, and he wasn't either. So then to me, it's like I'm sitting there like, yo, like I'm not going to be cool with these dudes to get to my next stop. So then it's hard for me to do that. And then so that kills me. And then I'm not going to put up $500,000 to get in the room.
Yeah.
So then to me, in my head, I'm like checked out. Like I'm like, it's no way for us to make it in this world because I'm not going to do either of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we were living good off of music before that situation. I think everyone's intention was good. It's just we had different ideas in our mind. Me and him are way too stubborn to have someone telling us what to do. We need to know what's going on in every aspect. And when you get into the industry, they try to close off things and they want to be like, keep the mystique. Like, I'm real, like, we the reason why we've had so many fans for, like, we just sold out 3 shows last year that were crazy is because we're so connected to our fans. We understand the customer. You know what I mean? Like, I've been a hustler my whole entire life. So it's like, we understood the importance of just connecting with the community, connecting with the people. We didn't want to look like we were like on these pedestals. We wanted to be like with the people, and that's who we were helping. That's who was our fans. So it just wasn't our direction. That direction, it was interesting. I'm glad we did it because now we know that's not what we want to do.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot, but it was we just all had different dreams, and I think
and shout out to everyone who's a part of it, because it wasn't bad intentions. It's just a different way of thinking from 2 different sides. You know what I'm saying?
What did y'all think, like, going into, what did y'all think Hollywood was gonna be like? Like, you know what I mean? Because you've heard all of the stories. You probably assumed that most of the people was fake. So what did you think, like, just going into taking that step?
I thought, this is where this is my mistake on this, because the way I thought was like this. If I put, let's say in Denver, I put 1,000 people in a venue, I can do that. What I'm asking is, if I come out to you guys and you guys have money, then if you put the money behind it, I could replicate what I do in multiple cities. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I could do this again if we want to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking money. So I'm just going like flat money. Let's go like, hey, if you got the money and then I just do the work that I want to do, then we just replicate.
Yeah.
And that's just business sense to me.
Yeah, straight business.
When it moved to the ideas of like, well, I want you to sound like this and I want you to, like hang around these, that's when it knocked it off to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it bothers me. So then my argument becomes the side of like, I don't want to do any of that. You know what I'm saying? So then I like the transparency of it. And that's what we all hear from. We all know what the music industry has with transparency. That's why you have like artists that be like, oh, well, like I never got paid for this, because the transparency doesn't exist as clear as it should be. Now, I'm not saying that the industry is totally wrong, because the thing about it is they put it in contracts and they are doing all the work for these artists. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So then people putting up money on you is people putting up money on you. But then the transparency to a regular person, I personally, as I went to college, so then I'm not gonna read this whole contract. I already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? So then to me, I need the transparency. Like I need you to say it. Yeah. Like I need you to say it to me, because I'm not gonna do all this extra stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
break it down in layman's terms.
Yeah, break it all the way down to me, and then I'm just like on the side of I need the full transparency all the time, and some of the things I'm not willing to do. So then we're going to just butt heads all the time.
Yeah.
So then, but during that time, what people seen was this. On one side, yes, you have the things like DX, Hip Hop DX doing the interview. Like, you see the industry things that's happening.
Yeah.
At the same time, you see an album that we went on the streets and sold to everyone. Like, we actually got to the point where we were having people download the album on iTunes, like, in front of us.
Yeah.
And so, but we're going person to person doing this. So then you see the same grind happening. So then everything just looks like it's all industry.
Yeah.
But it's us. You see what I'm saying? On the other end doing the things. You know what I'm saying? So then it was kind of like, okay, we can put it together for a moment, and then it couldn't as I said, like, it couldn't just stay like that because we're headbutting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it just got to a point, because it's kind of like people think when we got on when we did Fiddler's Green and we did 2 years of All Stars and then we go to Summer Jam, that had nothing to do with the industry.
That was all me and him. All our big.
Well, we're gonna get to that. Let's get to because the last before we get to those concerts, the last time I seen like y'all and Mike Hypnotic, it was this huge lavish dinner. It was like this. I can't remember exactly what was going on, but y'all was about to come out, and it seemed like the president was at this goddamn dinner. It was like just so. I was like, oh, these guys is freaking Illuminati now. I think it was in Denver, somewhere in some big mansions or
Castle.
Oh, okay, so
but that was like the last time I seen y'all kind of all together, like, you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So what was that about, and then what kind of happened right after that?
So this story is I got a call one day that the mayor of Glendale wanted me to do a song with him and Wyclef, and I was like, that sounds cool. What is the mayor? I was confused, but they're like, okay, come to this castle and have this meeting. So I actually went to this castle, and I was like, I think I even brought Mike to that, but I went to this castle, and it was a political meeting because he was going to run for governor or mayor or something. He was a mayor, and he was going to run for governor. And I'm just sitting in this meeting, and I was like, "This is interesting." I'm in a castle, so we became friends, and we started helping him. Like, he ended up sponsoring one of our albums we did. We used to put out like 10 to 20,000 albums almost a month or every 3 months, just because we would get sponsors on them. And I was really inspired by the South, how like Slim Thug would sell stuff out the trunk. We didn't have time to sell as many, so what we would do is get sponsors to take out radio ads, and we kind of made our bag from that. And then we put out free music because we kind of seen the industry changing where free music was a big thing. Anyways, we built a relationship with this guy who had a castle, and he became a good friend. And he was just like, once we started moving in that world, he's like, man, you guys can have your record release here, your album release. We did a couple songs, I think, in LA at that time. And he was like, just bring your people here. We brought Hip Hop DX to the castle.
So you see how it's like both sides working at the same time. Like, it's the independent side of who we knew, but then because the industry wants you to make a look, we were kind of like, okay, well, we'll do this stuff to make this look how it needs to look. You know what I'm saying? Even though me and him aren't really like that, it was like, okay, well, if this is what they want, then we can kind of give this like idea of it. You know what I'm saying? And then even like Hip Hop DX at the time when they came out, they was like, we never been to a castle. You know what I'm saying? They were like, we never seen a real castle like this, because he is a real castle.
It was crazy. I remember watching that video. I was like, oh, these guys done signed their life over there. They out of there.
Yeah, it's like a blur because you can't tell what the whole situation, you know what I'm saying? But then I'm sitting there like, you know what I'm saying? As I said, like, you're sitting there and you're kind of like, all this stuff, like, I don't really like. So then I'm doing stuff that I'm like making a look, because I'm not even like that. Like, I'm not even a flashy dude like that. You know what I'm saying? So then it's like when I'm doing it, I'm like, yo, like, this just ain't me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not willing to go like some other people are willing to go super far with things that ain't them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I even stop at the space of like just doing that is enough to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really kick it like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't do this all day. So it's like I'm in a space where I'm like, yo, we're conflicted at that point of like what we're showing and what the truth is to us, you know? And
some of it was true.
Yeah, some of it's true. Like, like, you know the dude, and he even wanted us in his wedding. Like, you know what I'm saying? But then it's like, I wouldn't be like posting that all day like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be like, yo, look at me.
Yeah. When you can.
You know what I'm saying? Like
10 photos of that and make it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't have done it in that manner. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to the point where we were posting things that it was just way over glamorized, but it was all real life at points. But it's like, I would have never said anything about it because I'm just not that type of dude.
Yeah.
Like I just be like, yo, like it is
It's
what
like
it is.
we was really in the best clubs, drinking the best bottles in the world. Me and him would never pay for a bottle. I'll just be clear. Like we've never bought a bottle in our life, and we probably had over 8,000 bottles. You know what I mean?
Your shit.
But that's not us either. Like I would have never been in these clubs unless the industry placed us in these situations. So it's like that's not really my style.
That was more like Mike's style. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Mike would be in the Greystones in LA and everything like that all the time. And then when he bring us forward, we go to it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it wasn't like our life, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's not like what we wanted to do.
It was really his life. But
yeah, it really was his life. You know what I'm saying? So then our life was like, we were kind of like, we made good money rapping and we just lived how we lived. You know what I'm saying? Like we just wanted to rap and do what we wanted to do. So then all this stuff started leading to like, as I said, like we're doing shows that like at that point we're doing like numbers like 1,000 in a venue and stuff like that. And then the clash kind of comes to where we just don't see alike. You know what I'm saying? And so at that point, it was just kind of like, it was no hard feelings. It's just like, yo, I'm going to go do my thing over here, and you do your thing however you do it. You know?
Yeah, I think it's like, it's respect because I think he tried. We all just had different visions. And me and him got more aligned on like what we really wanted. And after we saw that, it pulled back the curtain, you're like, that's not really what I want. And we couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. And then our singer broke off and they went and tried some things. So it was like, we were more on the independent. We always seen like, we would tour with Tech Nine a little bit and see how he would do it and how like, okay, man, this guy's beating Drake on Forbes. Like, I want to do that. I want to be able to buy my family a house. I want to be able to do these things. And we were like, we're not that style of music, but we can take our style and still build the same type of fan base.
Yeah. And from the outside looking in, it looked like, everything was going great. Like, y'all really,
Shit. I hit Billboard. I was in LA. We were with Dim Joints, and all of a sudden, we get the call like my son had leukemia. Basically, it was aplastic anemia. So it was like everything was at its worst point ever mentally. But it like we were in the top of the world.
Yeah,
in the rap
career
world.
wise.
Yeah, we were, you know what I'm saying? But then, and then, so when we come out of that, that's when you get to the point of, I guess, like, Summer Jam had nothing, or any of that had nothing to do with the industry.
Yeah, none of our shows.
What's weird about this.
Well, let's go to that. When did that? Because I saw Mike on stage, so I know it was with him. How did
that was the All Stars.
That was the All Stars.
Yeah,
so what was the
All Stars?
What was the first one that y'all did that
That's
led
when he
to
came
the
back, right?
Summer Jam?
We booked. Me and you booked all the shows.
So what happened is the first time we kind of split between everything. Our singer goes and he stays and he wants to chase the dream in LA. Okay. Me and him come back home and it's to the point where me and him are like, let's go into the studio and we're gonna record all new stuff. We go into the studio, record all new stuff, and then we go crazy booking ourselves. We end up doing some stuff with Snow. We end up doing stuff with some what's his name? At that time,
Juicy J.
Yeah, Juicy J and them. Like we're like on these shows that are like popping and going crazy.
Yeah. And
like the fans are just like going like crazy because the style that we went to was back to the original style of how Top Flight was. So they start going crazy. They start hounding our fans just start hounding the PD at KSM 1075 at that point.
The
They're
big
like,
radio station.
yeah, they're like hounding him like
to play the record.
Like
we had one girl go in there and go crazy on him.
Went into the building. It went crazy.
We didn't tell her to do this.
We didn't tell her to do none of this. Like we didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? So we're like, and so the PD hits us up and he tells me, he's like, yo, he's like, I wouldn't have like reached out or anything, but he's like, I keep running into people that keep saying you guys' names. You know what I'm saying? And like we're like, yeah, bro. Like, and he's like, well, he invites us out to dinner and he's like, I want y'all to be on All Stars. And this is happening while we're not kind of like we're managed, but we're not even speaking like at the time. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, we want you to be on All Stars, and we're like, cool, let's get it popping. You know what I'm saying?
This is bigger than Summer Jam.
Yeah, at this time, this was kind of bigger than Summer Jam because All Stars was like all the All Stars of top artists.
So what's the difference? Why would?
So it's comparison because it's at the same spot, but then like for instance, like Summer Jam will have the new artist that's popping. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. All Stars will have people like The Game and like you know what I'm saying. But then it's like they already have like he's platinum at the time.
Established
you know what I'm saying? He's established platinum. versus the new kid. You know what I'm saying? So then we would have both of these in the summers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was like Summer Jam All-Stars, Summer Jam All-Stars, like that. So they wanted us on Summer Jam that year, but then they were like, they couldn't get to us in time, and then we were like, well, they wanted us on All-Stars. So we was like, cool, like, no one has ever done All-Stars because it's usually established artists, you know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
So we go into All-Stars and do it, and that's where you see all of us together. The following year.
In the jerseys.
Yeah, in the jerseys. That's the first year.
So how was that? We can't just skip over that. How was that like just the day when it's the day of and you know, just take me to that, to waking up on that day.
It's crazy because shout out to him on that because he was like, he went to Boulder and was like, yo, they're going to do All-Stars. They need your jerseys. And they actually printed up real jerseys like for the football players with all our names on it for like 15 people in my crew. And so he got all that set up, and then I'm sitting there like, yo, like this is crazy. It's 15,000 people. You know what I'm saying? So the whole day I'm sitting there like, we're like, this is it. You know what I'm saying? You get to the building and you got a whole room to yourself. Wow. With food and everything in it, and it's like next door to you is like the Migos and all this stuff. Like, so it's like you sitting there like, yo, this is crazy.
We made it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it's like this is it. And I feel like that's the one I was like kind of I was kind of nervous on it because I was kind of like, we ain't never done nothing like this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and we did all new music. We
didn't really have our music. Almost all new music because our album was about to come out like months later. So then we had a set that we used to do, but now we're like switching out songs to be like, yo, we got to show this new shit. You know what I'm saying?
That was a gamble.
We're going to show all this new shit. And we get on stage like, oh shit, like this is it. You know what I'm saying? But it worked, like.
Hypnotic, how'd you feel show day?
Man, I'll tell you, it was like the whole time you got to think is like my son's sick. We're going back and forth to LA. We just split up with Mike, and then he just came back in the picture. So everything in my mind wasn't even real. Like when I went on stage, it was just like some kind of nostalgia. It was like I felt like when we did 420 and we was on stage and there's 80,000 people, and all of a sudden there's gunshots that go off. It's like, and Shaman are on the stage blessing it with Sage. It's just one of those moments that's like I can't explain it. It was surreal to me.
See, the industry puts the microscope on it, so what people see is like that moment. Like, but a lot of people don't talk about prior to us even going to the industry that we headlined 420 in Denver 4 times. And that's 80,000 people.
Yeah, I know.
You see what I'm saying?
I've never been to one, but I've seen it, on people's phones, how crazy it be.
We helped fund it.
At one point, we helped create the funding situation for it.
For real?
Yeah, because he would work and throw these shows to get money so they could put it at the Civic Center Park.
Yeah.
And so because they needed stuff like security and everything like that, because it was just kind of one of those days that they would just put on the show and it wasn't like locked out at first. And so we were doing that. So we were already doing like shows that were crazy numbers, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But then because that lands at that time in when the industry things happen, everyone looks from the outside and think, oh, the industry is building the situation. But it had nothing really to do with that. It was just where me and him, how hard we were going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that year goes, then
Mike was louder. I think one thing Mike did that we never did was Mike was really loud. So he was really good at taking a moment and like putting a microphone on it and shutting it out to the city. Like, hey, these guys are doing it. They're this. Me and him would be kind of like, we would record our video in front of us with when we're on tour with 3,000 or 5,000 people or a stage diving and this and that. We would always put that out, and that's how we consistently got booked and sponsors. But he would make it look like we were doing this big industry push, and really, yeah.
And that's what when he came into the picture, that's why I said it looked like y'all elevated, like there was more money, coming around now because y'all was doing just crazy big things that local artists could not attain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
He found some people, like one person I had that was funding my movie, we switched him over and he started funding some of this stuff. Like money, this is the thing I think people get twisted in this game is like money can buy you a feature, it can buy you onto a show, it can buy you all these things, but
it can't buy you fans.
It can't buy you fans.
Facts.
You got to earn your fans.
You got to earn your fans, so.
We spent our whole career earning fans and building this, so it's like all our features, I would never pay for a feature. I would never pay for a billboard. I would never pay for... we're cheap. Like, I'd rather earn it. I'm not going to pay for it. You know what I mean? But if someone wants to pay for it for me, great. Cool. You know what I mean? But none of those things, to be honest, this is what I teach artists is Not one of those features ever did anything for me. None of those press runs put us in any, like, our biggest press was, we had Huffington Post come out and interview you one time, or we had real.
Yeah, Huffington Post came out to interview me
That's
because
huge.
of just the level of show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then and that was before all of this. And so it's like a lot of the things we would do were like just earned. And then so we end up getting to the second year, the year after, and he was like, "Yo, we want you on All Stars again." Like, people is, you know what I'm saying?
Same PA.
Actually, at this point, it's a different PD, and he puts us on it again. And at that time, we were rolling with a dude that was who had just came out of the NFL, Napalm, and he wanted to be a singer.
Palmer.
Yeah, he wanted to be a singer, so he was like, he ended up jumping on the set and everything like that. And
He wrote a verse like 2 nights before.
yeah, he wrote a verse 2 nights
to one of our songs.
Crazy.
because he was like, I want to be on stage, and I was like, cool, bro. I was like, you can come on stage, and we went into that, and then the last time we do it, like, that's kind of where everything kind of like, I guess you can kind of say we started like totally separating from the situation with the industry, and it was just like we were kind of like, yo, this year we're going to just do what we do. Like, we're going to get back to shows. Like, we started doing Gothic 4 times a year again, and we started doing our like No Love tours and stuff like that. And then heading into that one, it was weird because the PD I think the PD had that was when it was Berm, right? Yeah. And then we kept telling him, we was like, yo, we've done 2 All-Stars, but we've never gotten Summer Jam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we were like, we done 2 All-Stars and you never gave us Summer Jam. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're at this peak right now where we're doing Gothics, like 1,000-person seaters, like every 3 months. And it's like, yo, like, we deserve this one. You know what I'm saying? Like, let us get a Summer Jam too. Like, but like, we're a new artist because we are kind of like a new artist. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, yeah, I'm gonna push it through. And
I think even Trev Rich was on that
Trev
one.
was on that one with us. So it was like, it was 2. This is the only time there was 2 Colorado artists on Summer Jam. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, okay, like going into that one, that's what I said to people, like, I wouldn't really, like, I was in a different place at that time, so I was like, my parents is coming, like, because my parents had came to a couple shows I've done, but like, they're like, my dad was a sniper in Vietnam, so you can't have him around too many people, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like, my mom is like this little like music teacher, so then if anybody would have bumped into my mom, I can't have her in some of these places because my dad will flip, you know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
So then I told him, I was like, yo, if y'all can come to this one, I'll make sure y'all just backstage with me, y'all kick it, and then when I perform, you get to go on stage. And this is probably like the only, I'll say out of all the shows I've ever done, this is the only one that I was like shook up by, was because, you know, my parents are there, you know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there, I take them to meet Ludacris, I take them, we go kick it with Post Malone, backstage, everything like that, and I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I told my parents, I was like, I'm gonna come out right here, and like, that stage is huge, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, y'all just stand right here and y'all can watch me do what I do, you know what I'm saying? And like, I remember that at one point, and this is rare that this happens, like, a tear came from my eye, like, I'm on stage, and I remember the beats, like, we had a song, and it's like just bumping, and I'm just like looking up into the sky, I'm thinking about my brother, everything. I look back at my parents, and yo, like tears start coming down my eyes, and I almost couldn't start the verse off, because I'm sitting there like, yo, like, this is what I did it for, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the moment I'm doing it for. And that's when I was just like, that's when we were like, yeah, we done made it this far, like, totally independently, nothing really helping us, like, hey, this is what we did this.
What did your parents, what was they thinking? I know their minds was just blown, like,
yeah, my
you
dad,
know what I mean? Like,
my dad was like, I ain't seen a show like this big since he had seen James Brown back in the day.
Yeah, but his
like, my
son,
son's
the
there.
star.
Yeah, he was like, this is you. He's like, this is the biggest thing I've ever seen. And he was like, this is crazy. Like, you're here doing this at this level. And he was like, you said you was going to do it. Like,
you did it.
Yeah, and you got it
Crazy.
all the way to this point. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
I don't think we ever took a second in the midst of this, because we've been in like multiple states doing shows even bigger than that. And
Yeah.
I don't think we
In
ever
your
like,
home city, that's
in a home city.
the show.
that was the one to me.
That's, yeah.
I think a lot of people always looked at it like, why are you repping Colorado so hard? because we would go everywhere screaming Colorado. And
Yeah.
people would be like, what? Some people didn't even think black people lived in Colorado.
I know. My cousins here think that they drive snowmobiles in Colorado. I'm like,
horses.
bro.
And I guess it is like a low ratio of other people besides white people in Colorado. But I didn't know that until someone actually pointed it out. But I don't know, man. We would rep Colorado hard, and people would just look down on us for it because they're like, man, you got to pretend like you're from somewhere else. You got to pretend like you're something else.
I'm
and
not pretending nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is where I'm at. You know, like.
Yeah, I loved being from Colorado. I love.
So that moment captured more of it because it was kind of like we went into that night like we had done fillers 2 times already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So going into that night, it was like, you know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Sold out.
Yeah.
We did the
And-
sold out show, and then we jumped in and did our own sold out show over at Bluebird, a smaller theater.
Well, that was the first.
Oh, that was the
yeah.
first one. Okay,
Yeah. But then this one, we were like heading into it. It was kind of like we know what we're doing and everything like that. So that was the only time I guess I could say I reflected on everything that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like everything we had done up until that point. And I was just like, yo, like, this is it. Like, I'm kicking it backstage with my parents. They seeing the food and everything out. They seeing famous dudes walking by and stuff like that.
Like
and
it's
just
normal.
Like, yeah, and then we just kicking it there, too. And so that was the moment where I was just kind of like, we made it, man. Like, we got to the point that what we said we wanted to do was going to happen, you know?
Exceeded.
Did any of those shows make y'all like? Of course, y'all got there doing it y'all way and being y'all, but that didn't make y'all want to be like, let's go back to Hollywood. This is what this is what I like. Because that's Hollywood. While y'all was there, that's Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? We just came to Colorado.
We did a sold out show at NoHo. Was it NoHo or Novo?
Yeah, Novo at the time
In Hollywood.
LA. Yeah, in
The
LA.
energy's different. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was way different. And see, the thing is it's like what we created was for a reason. So it's like everything that brought us together was for a reason. So we never really cared of like doing that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Once we seen what it was, as I told you, like I just didn't want it like that no more. I don't want that to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I know you still have to go through the same protocol.
Yep.
Like no matter how you cut it, people can say what they want to say. Like it is that same protocol. You
Yeah.
become cool with people. You have to hang with them.
Yep.
You gotta feed their pockets.
Yep.
You gotta do all this stuff, and it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to do that. So then, to me, it's nothing that can make me say, "Hey, I'm willing to do that." You know what I'm saying? So then, once we come out of that Summer Jam show, it's crazy because that's when we started creating our own tours. And so where they were like consistent tours where we got to the point where me and him are like touring, like we decided to make mini tours where we knew there was 10 spots in Colorado we could go, and then we knew the states next to us and we could replicate this very fast. So we got to the point where we're like replicating shows at a rate where me and him are doing like 15 to 20 stops within a size of like Colorado, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, part of California, and then Wyoming and Colorado. And we would just make real good money and come home. Yeah. And we lowered our expenses because we're so close to everything. Like you only have to get hotels for the far out places. The 10 stops in Colorado, I only have to get a stop like a hotel for one of those. So we started figuring out the numbers and we started to understand like how many fans we needed each area. So after we come out this industry thing, we're sitting there like, yo, if I can control so many fans, if I can control 1,000 fans, then I'm easily making $100,000 right now. You know what I'm saying? So then we started running those numbers like that, and that's what became what we did. We even got to a point like we went on this small tour with Nelly and Fat Joe where we even got to Sacramento, and these are stadium tours. Yeah. And like we did that and everything like that, and it was just like we started understanding these areas and how to build like fan bases. Like, oh well, I need 500 fans here, and I need 300 people here, and I need 200 people here. And the rest of our career basically started moving based off that, and we just started living good. Like we understood it then.
Our stream sucked. Our social media was light, and we
just knew the exact amount of people. So it's kind of like we always tell people like there's a difference between followers and fans. Followers will just follow you just to look at you, and fans will actually purchase a ticket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the difference. Like a fan will spend money on you. Yeah. And when we figured out that, we were kind of like, yo, they're going. If I know the exact, let's say, 4,000 people that are my actual fans, that's all I really need. You know what I'm saying? Because the followers look cool, but I know tons of dudes who got millions of followers that can't tour. Yep. but then I can go tour because I know these exact 4,000 people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So then I ain't gotta have crazy numbers on Spotify and all this stuff like that because the 4,000 people are going. What's going to feed me? You know what I'm saying?
Money.
Like those are the ones that gonna spend money. They're gonna buy all the merch and everything like that. And those are the 4,000 people that are gonna listen to this song right now. And that's all I cared about. So then we started getting to a point where we were moving like that. And that part of our career is what kind of just fueled the idea of like just being like making music a day job to where we were just like, yo, we can just live off this the rest of the way out.
Facts. Because I see y'all be tapping into like a lot of markets where a lot of major artists, you know, skip over.
Yeah.
Like I see y'all got a big fan base in towards the UNC, Northern Colorado area.
Yeah, Greeley.
I see Greeley. Yeah, I see y'all do a lot of shows up there that, you know, sell out and have big crowds. So how did y'all kind of find these really untapped markets? Was it just y'all touring or?
Yeah, we would just sit there and look at places and look at their populations. And basically everybody's the same. Like people try to act like, oh, you got to be in LA or New York or Miami. But it's the same people that listen to the music that are in these other areas. Like that's who's paying everybody's. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
they ain't got nothing else to do.
Yeah. So if the big artists don't want to go there, then I'm going to go. You know what I'm saying? So then we started making it based off of, we're going to go all the places these big artists ain't going to go. Because then we have a better chance of getting venues and at better prices, and then that also makes it because we're doing our own booking. You know what I'm saying? So if I got to pay for the venue, I'm not going like other than the Gothic that I was paying like we were paying like between 5 and 10 at one point. It's like I have to find places that I'm gonna spend like $1,000 here, $2,000 there. You know what I'm saying? So then we started paying attention to the populations, and like some of these places have 100,000 people. All I need is 400 people to come out tonight. You know what I'm saying? 300 people to come out tonight. So then we started paying attention to these spots and going like, yo, what about this spot, this spot, this spot, this spot? And then like in Colorado, we would look at Grand Junction, Greeley, Boulder, Pueblo, Colorado Springs, of course, Denver, and then there was a couple mountain cities too, Alamosa, all those places like that, and we knew all the spots. Then we look at it in states nearby, like if we're going to Wyoming, we'd be like, after we come out of Fort Collins, we're going to go to Cheyenne and Laramie, you know what I'm saying? And then if we get to Utah, we're going to do Salt Lake and Provo. And then when we get, and then St. George or something like that, like we would understand all these places and be like, this is how many people are in those. We need 200 to 300 of them.
But we were so tapped in with our fans also, they would guide us to the next journey. Like, hey, you should go to this place. I got a cousin that loves y'all.
Yeah.
And that's why we would be like, because we would talk to our fans. Like we would, after every show, we'd get off and sign autographs and have conversations with people. Because you're in places where, like some of these are rural places, you know what I mean? Like, so we would just really tap in with our people, and they would tell us kind of like, hey, you should try here, or we'd see a little artist tour in there. Because when we were in these other markets, they would never know anybody from Denver. That's the crazy piece. It's like there's only been a couple artists from Denver who would get outside of Denver. Everyone was so stuck on their little area. Yeah. Even Springs, like we tried to bridge that gap because there was artists in Springs always, but we was trying to bridge gaps between cities.
So when did y'all make the idea of the app like kind of initially popped into y'all head?
So like during this time, we get to a point where me and him are we're trying to figure out how to compensate, like how to make more money with more stability, because you're doing the shows. So then you have to go like, okay, I'm doing, let's say 10 to 15 shows every 3 months or whatever like that. And you start going like sponsors. We already knew we could control sponsors. So then we were like, okay, well, if we get real close to the sponsors and start going like, we're going to take these type of photos at our venue when we do this to promote your product. And then basically the whole idea of what big sponsors do with big artists. We knew like they couldn't afford Drake. Like you got to pay Drake 10, 20 million for him to do. So then, you can pay me $3,000 a month. You know what I'm saying? So then I'll do it, and I know the fan bases.
Yeah.
So then I know the consumers. So if I got 1,000 fans in this area and your business is in this area, I can send the direct people.
Yeah.
You just pay me for that, and I'm doing the same promotion that the big idea of the promotion is. So we ended up having to create like a little business to run those checks through. So we had to create a separate marketing business to run those checks through, because it wasn't coming directly to Top Flight, because we were like, this is like a sponsor group here that's giving it to Top Flight. You know what I'm saying? So for tax purposes, we had to say you know what I'm saying, the separation. So then we end up building that piece, and then within that piece, I remember me and him would go back and forth talking about, like, I was like, yo, like, The one thing that Colorado, which me and you talked, we all talked about right at the start, was that the separation. I know this happens in every city. It's like the separation of artists.
Yep.
And they always want to, oh no, we the best.
Yeah, everybody think they too big for their britches.
Our entire career, a lot of times we would help other artists because if the consumer believes there's somebody else there, it's like wrestling.
Yeah.
If they believe somebody else is popping too, then now I have the chance of doing more shows because like let's say this kid, let's say like some artist right here is popping and I'm popping. Yeah. I get a show, he gets a show. If we do a show together, that just gave us 2 shows.
Yep.
Now. So then when I'm seeing it in my mind, I'm like, yo, like if you build this up to a place where multiple artists exist at the same time and consumers believe in that, that's what they're willing to pay for, and they're willing to cross over and pay for more of it because the entertainment level and the belief system of it.
Thanks.
So we started playing with the idea of putting artists in shows without us and with us. And we were like, yo, like we're about to get this big show. Let's put this artist on there with us and see if people believe in this cat the same way.
Napalm, we're going to put you as a singer, as a headliner.
We're going to make him a headliner. Or there's a kid named Miguel. We're going to make him a headliner. And then people will believe something. So then when you see us together, it hits even harder. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
Like it's kind of like even with this whole beef thing, when you see these artists work together, you go like, oh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so then it's a play on the consumer idea of what they see, you know?
Yeah.
So we're sitting there and we're doing it consistently, and we're having like a lot of sponsors like control some of this and pay for some of this stuff, you know? Mm-hmm. Then just by chance, COVID hits and all our shows destroyed, you know what I'm saying? But we had tons of sponsors at the time, so then we were able to live through COVID because all our sponsors was paying money still because we could go on Instagram and still post their names and say go here or whatever like that because a lot of the sponsors
were doing live stream shows.
I see y'all was doing some type of I don't know if it was podcasting, but y'all was popping y'all stuff and I was watching those on Instagram.
TV.
Yeah.
We would do those because one of our sponsors had the part of that building and we would promote them through it.
So I still had to do content
instead of doing shows. We doing that. So then we started doing that, and then during that time, me and him just kind of sat around and we're kind of like, yo, if we go back, like once everything comes back, are we going to go back on tour as relentless as we were before?
Yeah.
And like being that we had done this for now 16 years, you know what I'm saying? Like 15 years at this point, we were like, yo, like what's something else we can build around this that could possibly be like when we do get way too old to do this, like they could keep us running because I don't want to get a job. You know what I'm saying?
I want to give back to the artists.
You know what I'm saying? Plus you want to give back to the artists. You want to give them the opportunity to live off something because the wage gap in music is this. It's 30 million artists in the United States. Less than 1% of them actually make over $40,000 a year.
Yep.
That's including Drake's.
And that includes the Drakes and the big people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then they're taking over the majority of it.
Yeah.
So then inside the idea, I'm sitting there like, yo, we got to shorten this gap here. You know, because me and him know how to do it. But then if we can offer it to other artists, they get the opportunity to be like, either I want to go into the industry and be like this type of person, or I know how to grind at the level that I can turn this into a day job and make $100,000 to $200,000 a year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then we ended up taking it and going like, yo, let's put this in an app. And if it's in an app, then everybody can get to the point where they can replicate the same ideas that we did. So the app then becomes like, we knew that some of these artists were doing numbers. Like we had kids that were doing, like we had this one kid, Miguel at the time, he's doing like, he's putting 500 people in a building. And that's numbers that, like, you know what I'm saying? That's like industry numbers. You know what I'm saying? So, and then like, he's just a kid. And so I'm paying him like $2,000 in a night, and he's a kid, like 18 years old, coming off like, yo, I'm making $2,000 in a night.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So then I'm like, yo, these dudes, if they give the option, if you give them the option of having a blueprint and being able to control their own career, some of these people will actually take it up and be like, yo, I can grind this because then I have a legit way to make money.
Yeah, I know what to do now instead of just taking shots in the dark.
Exactly, because the industry just kind of is like, shots in the dark all night. It's like who you know or if you have tons of money almost. And so then we build the app and we're like, yo, let's get into all these cities and start expanding to the point that all these kids can run the same routes we ran and even more routes. You know what I'm saying? So that's what kind of led to that when we came out of when we were coming out of COVID, and then we get asked to come to Austin to build it more because we got into a Techstars accelerator.
Oh,
and we
that's
get
dope.
into where they put some money towards it,
Yeah.
and then they help you try to mold your business. You know what I'm saying?
We're not tech people.
Because we're not tech people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, they're gonna help us try to like mold it out and everything like that. So then we got into that, and that's when we moved out here for 3 months and just started grinding.
Dope, dope.
200 shows, 300
Yeah,
shows
now we're
later.
over 200. We're over 200 shows now.
Damn.
Yeah, and we've put over like 150 artists in headliner positions, and
10 artists toured plus,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, 15 artists toured, and then there's over 4,000 artists on the app. So all artists need to get on that app. It's the concert app with a Q. That's
It's
what
really just it's all community based. Like we're really changing the dynamics. When we came up, it was crabs in a barrel, and we're really now like if you work together, like me and him wouldn't have been friends, but since we work together, we're able to outsell some of these other bigger artists.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like promoting the idea that you could work together and make money and live off this. Because that's the thing is there's too many talented artists in my city I've seen not really making money.
We have him here too.
Yeah, everywhere. And I feel like we could treat this as a business. It's the same as hustling. I hustled my whole life, and it's the same exact game. You just got to transition your mind to...
it's just the music industry blurs it. And I always tell people, like, because everyone thinks they're the dopest artist in the world. Like, they be like, I'm dope. But it comes down to putting asses in seats. Any form of how dope you are is based off just any product in this world. If the product's good, people buy it. People will pay for it. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
But then we all know the artists, they'll be like, man, I'm the dopest on the block. And 10 people won't come see it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So then it just has to be like, I want reality to exist in this music game. Like, yo, learn to build your consumer base because you're a business now.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to be like, somebody can believe they're going to make it into the music industry, and that's possible. But the chances, if you looked at the chances, like winning the lotto. You know what I'm saying? And you're doing it every day with those chances. So I'm saying, yo, in the meanwhile, whether you're going for that or not, you should figure out a way to control your consumers yourself, because then you can start living your lifestyle like without a job. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't had a job since 07. So it's like, that's what I'm trying to teach people is like, yo, you ain't got to have a job. You can do this. And I can tell you these steps to be like, yo, this is what this is. You know what I'm saying? This is how many fans you need in this area for it to make sense for you to make this amount of money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you replicate that in other cities.
It seems like all artists should be on that. Cause these artists out here ain't having no direction, no guidance. So it's really like direction and guidance, you know. So that app is, I've definitely been checking out. I see some of your stuff on YouTube where you be breaking down just kind of the industry. You know what I'm saying? That stuff is very informative though. So
Thank you, fam. Thank you.
No, y'all killing it. And the name of the app is like super catchy. And, you know
concert
what I mean?
with a Q.
That's killing it. So. What's next for the app? What are y'all like? Y'all trying to expand in more markets or just get more artists on, or what's next for you guys?
Yeah, we're trying to get more artists on. That's why we're out here right now. We're trying to get Austin on the app. We're already in basically like 6 or 7 states because we're in Utah already. We're in Michigan already. We're about to put a first show in Indianapolis. We're about to put a show in California right now. We're in Wyoming. We're in New Mexico. We're in Nevada and Phoenix. Arizona. And so we're all in those places right now. We're trying to get into Texas right now, so that's why we're like, we want to be in Austin and try to figure out the landscape. We've been talking to venues all weekend, everything like that, and just looking at what it would take to get into Austin. We want to meet more artists, of course.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, we're building the fan side of the app currently, which will be out in the next month or so. And so the fans can get on there, so then artists can actually see who their fans are and know that. You know what I'm saying?
Clutch.
Like,
that's clutch.
So
we want this to be the most powerful vehicle for artists in the world that really helps them live off music and understand, okay, you could work at McDonald's or you could be a doctor. How much work do you want to put in and where do you want to put your time? So it's we want to have full-fledged tour routes for independent artists where you can go to any state. You can do 30 days, you could do 10 days, you could tour on weekends, and we just want to make this really accessible, but also not blur the line saying, hey, you have to do this amount of work, and if you want to get to here, great, this is the work you got to put in. We don't charge artists. It's not pay to play. Like a lot of people get it confused because there's so much pay to play and shitty promoters around the world that we're really basing it off work, and your work ethic takes you to as far as you want to go.
Sell these amount of tickets and you're worth this amount. You know what I'm saying? Like based on capacities of venues. So it's like if you wanted to be at a 300 person venue and you're like a headliner, you need to be selling at least 50 tickets or more. You know what I'm saying? To be like that person that's in there. So like that's how we base our formulas and everything based off like reality, what we had to do. But then we're taking out the idea because we're paying for the venue. They ain't paying for the venue. When I was moving, I had to pay for the venue.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So then I'm paying for all the venues when I'm moving, but I'm trying to teach artists like, okay, I'm going to give you that shot because I understand how many shows I can put on and everything that I can control. So then this gives you the option just to be like, yo, go get your fans. Start doing the numbers, get to the point where you're making money, and then keep moving and replicate it in another city. And then we'll get you connected with other artists that'll be like, oh, he's the man in this city, and you the man in this city. Then you go on his show, he go on your show, and then y'all gain fans in that other market.
So would y'all prefer like artists who've probably been doing it at least a little, got a little something established, or would y'all want like rookies who like, I want to be a rapper, I'm gonna sign up to the site now?
I say everyone, like artists who are more like, I guess, towards the industry are harder to deal with because they believe the industry route is the way.
They think they're worth more.
So then they're kind of like, oh, I need to get paid when I come outside. But you only need to get paid when you come outside if you put asses in seats. That's the reality of this. You know what I'm saying? Right. So then they're harder to deal with. Now, the ones who have been either working at it for a while or the ones that are like brand new to the game, a lot of them, they come with a clear mind of like, I'm ready to learn. You know what I'm saying? So I like the open-mindedness of being like, yo, I'm ready to learn, and I can learn in this route of controlling consumers just like a business would find its consumer. You know what I'm saying? Because some of these dudes be just so cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know it.
They be like, I got, everybody want to see me. I need to get paid $5,000 tonight. You know what I'm saying? And you be like, well, $5,000, like, do you got $5,000 worth of fans? You know what I'm saying? So
they come up here all the time popping like they, Lil Wayne. I'm just like, man.
So then I want to see, like, you have to really work at it. And, like, because I did it my whole career, so then I'm not talking nothing.
You put in the groundwork.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not talking nothing that I won't do and still will do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still do numbers at venues. So then it's like, I know what numbers people need to be putting out, and that's what I hope others will do also,
Right.
Yeah, first show, 50th show. We help, we mentor a lot of artists. There's a lot of artists who really want to take us to the next level who are a little bit bigger. Some of them, if they come at us humble, we gladly just put in time. Like, I like to see artists make money and make moves.
Yeah. So speaking of artists, who are some artists in the city that y'all think, past kind of and present, who y'all think have made some noise and shooking the city up a little bit?
The ones who really bringing numbers.
In Colorado?
In Colorado.
In Colorado, I always like
J-Dub the Ruler's bringing in.
Oh, right now?
Yeah, like,
we talking right now? Or we
past and like right now.
Hash, we got Hash.
Oh yeah,
J-Dub the
on
Ruler.
our app. Yeah, on our app, there's dudes doing crazy numbers. Like, you got Hash, who's doing crazy. Hash got bars. That's how you find him. J-Dub the Ruler. He's in Colorado Springs. He's probably one of the biggest in Colorado Springs right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are like the new kids that I'm seeing, and I'm like, yikes. You know what I'm saying? Like, JG, like, tons of dudes that are just kind of doing their thing right now. Back in the day, like, the people I looked up to, you know what I'm saying, they were doing their thing. You got like Julox back in the day. He was actually from Port Arthur. Man. He was from Port Arthur, Texas, wasn't he?
Julox was my dude, man. That's a dude.
Back in the day, and then you had MNLD who got deals out. That's Young Doe and
Pure Devotion, the old school Latinos,
Devotion, the Latino group. And then,
but let's talk about these new artists. These new artists,
Don Blas back then. But then, the new artists. I like tons of the new artists.
You got this artist in Greeley, Tap, and Jocelyn. They're actually really doing big things because these artists you never know. You got Blinks out in Utah.
Blinks out in Utah who like putting 300 in a venue. Jeez. So it's like in Salt Lake City, Utah. You know what I'm saying? It's like dope. You see some stuff like that. You got Mavericks in Phoenix. You know what I'm saying? In Phoenix, you got like, it's tons of these kids. That you got Vinny in Denver,
Vinny Boy Misfit,
Vinny Boy Misfits. The Misfits is crazy, and it's just like
sold out Roxy Theater, which
is almost 700 people.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's dudes doing like numbers that's crazy that people wouldn't think because you know what I'm saying, like, either they're not connected to, they don't know the promoter that helps and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, but they got movements behind them, you know what I'm saying, and they got tons of people that want to come see them all the time. So those are the people I rock with. It's like, because that's the name of the game, putting asses in seats.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying, and wanting to work.
It's all about.
So that's who I ride with, you know what I'm saying. And so
There's a lot of them. When we don't say too many names, it's because then people get hurt. But there's a lot of artists that are. We see the numbers. That's the thing. Is like I know there's a lot of artists that people are like, these are the best artists, and they're popular online, and that's dope. But like we see the real numbers of who's selling out venues.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we base. That's who I base who I really miss with.
Because even if I like didn't like somebody's music, who am I? You know what I'm saying? If you putting 1,000 people in a venue on your own grind, who am I to say it's not? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Thanks.
Like I know people that eat anchovies. I don't eat it. You know what I'm saying? But then that's what I'm saying. But it's the truth. But a lot of people eat anchovies. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of people. So then who am I to say that the music isn't popping? And the industry does that. The industry's kind of like, if it don't sound the way they want it to sound, it ain't popping.
Yeah.
But then a person that puts 1,000 people is a person that put 1,000 people. Yep. You know what I'm saying?
There's an artist, Grayson Ratliff, who's he's a indie pop
like a pop
artist,
rock
like blues artist, but we put him in the rap role and he's crushing it.
You know what I'm saying? And he's with the guitar on stage going crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like, it's one of those things like, you can't really judge it based off that, because if the vibe is working, and then some of these dudes, like even like how they made rap or something like that, they're telling the stories of the group of people that are coming out to see them, because they're kind of like the news for this whole group of people, a whole city of people. You know what I'm saying? And it's easy for them to replicate because there's other people that go through those same things in those other cities, but none of these kids would get a chance because they ain't got no money to go to LA, or they ain't got, you know what I'm saying? Yep. So then when I give them a chance, and it's kind of like, yo, you can go headline this spot, they knock it out the park because they like, yo, this is my chance. You know what I'm saying?
I would never have another chance if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, so that's who I want to give the opportunity to.
Yeah. Flojo, we got
Flojo do his thing too. Yeah, so it's like Flo Main, you know what I'm saying? Like all of them. Like they do their thing. So
there's a lot of, I like to mention artists that were kind of like us, because we were never in the popular crowd. So the people who would talk up real loud, the media channels and all that, never mentioned us. But when you move in silence and you just work,
that's all I really cared about. I didn't really care if anybody, like, you ain't got to give me kudos. You know, like, people didn't have to give me the kudos at the time, because I didn't care for the, you know what I'm saying, like the
accolades.
Yeah, the accolades. I just,
y'all was putting ass in
my
seats.
my bank said the accolades. You know what I'm saying? When I go to the bank in the morning, they say, hey, this is the number. So then I said, that's the accolade.
And that's the biggest accolade. That's the most important accolade.
Yeah, that's the only accolade, because I'm feeding myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't eat an accolade. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it came down to. Like,
facts.
Only thing I can eat is when I pay it with the money. So then that's how I felt. Like, hey, this is what these real this is what the truth is of this music industry. Because the one thing about the music industry is, like, as I said, like, it's not like going to the NBA. If you go to the NBA, you played everybody in middle school. You paid everybody, like everybody in your I guess you can say your city.
Yep.
In middle school. Everybody in high school you played, and which was everybody in your state. Yep. And when you got to college, you played everybody in the nation.
Yep.
Then when you get to NBA, you play everybody in the world. So then that says that you are actually that good.
Yeah.
In the music world, it doesn't mean that, because you might have not put asses in seats this whole time, and you knew somebody and they put you on.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? So then now, just because the media pumps this kid 24/7, we don't have no other choice.
Yep.
So I'm trying to make it to where it's like, okay, well, let's make this fair. Everybody coming up can actually build this off of how many asses they put in seats.
Yep.
Then now we see who really is the dopest for real.
Facts, because if you Joe Blow, but you could put 1,000 people in the seat, now you popping Joe Blow. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as a business model, you generate money, so that takes precedence over everything. I don't care how many followers you got. You know what I'm saying?
It's saving lives too, man. We're taking kids off the streets, giving them opportunities. Like, people be thanking us every day. Like, man, There's a lot of paths you could go, but music will, if you actually see a path and I can make this my future, a lot of people will take that over the streets, or take that over.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah.
Would you rather sell out shows or be in the grave, you know? And
and that's where it comes down to,
man,
with some people. So, yeah, man.
All right, before we get out of here, let's get into a messy topic. How much y'all know about Celina Powell?
You had to kick her out of the back room from some artists.
Cause her rise,
I got nothing bad to say about her.
Her rise kind of came, when y'all was doing y'all thing at the big concerts. That's kind of, how she got on being there.
I respect the hustle. Like, she figured out her lane, and she became more popular. Yeah, she's good at what she does.
Her lane. Like, the gist of it, everything in this world is like, to me, everything in this world almost is entertainment. You know what I'm saying? And if you find your lane and that's what you want to live doing, like, just understand the consequences of it and understand where you win doing. You know what I'm saying? Just like anybody that decides to do anything. If you go to decide to sell drugs, you know the consequences of this and the wins. You know what I'm saying? So I can't hate on anyone's hustle in this world because it's kind of like you understand what you put yourself into. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, you know what I'm saying? She getting on TV, everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey.
I feel bad for some of the people that she got, but you know. Because some of them, if we were
well, some of these niggas is choosing to be, you know
what
I'm saying? Like, they grown ass people, you know what I'm saying? So if you grown and you doing what you doing and you hanging with who you hang with and stuff like that, like I don't like, I just can't shit on nobody with anything they like. These are grown people, you know what I'm saying? And for me to even get involved in a way to be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? This is this, that's.
Yeah, I don't know her enough to.
Even if I knew her, like, the gist of it is, you grown. Like, people are grown out here, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could be, like, whether I was moral, anything like that, but I gotta watch for myself, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't worry about, like, there's never gonna be a utopia world where I can say everyone's gonna live the same because I said it. You know what I'm saying? Or I believe this, you know what I'm saying? People want that. And I don't, like, I can't get involved. I don't got the time to get involved because it's just like, yo, whatever people do, they do and they live.
If these artists took a page out of her book and understood, like, okay, if you OnlyFans girls that make a lot of money, why can't artists make a lot of money? Because these OnlyFans girls are working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you
That's
willing to
the
put
real
in the
shit
work,
of this shit. These OnlyFans girls work. You know what I'm saying? And she's working. Like, the gist of this is when you look at, like, because as I said, with me and our music, I'm not a flashy ass nigga. My accolade was putting money in my pocket.
Yeah.
I don't need to be on the TV. I don't need to be any of that. These other rappers that want to be on the TV and stuff like that should probably call her and be like, yo, how do I get to TV? Because the gist of this is if you want to live that lifestyle, she's living that lifestyle.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? Like, she's living that lifestyle right now. That's the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? So if you wanted to be on TV and stuff like that, you should find out how she promotes herself to make herself look like that. Yeah. Like, you could say a rapper that disses tons of people is very similar to how she did. Like, when rappers used disses back in the day to get kind of popping because they got, like, they talked about tons of other people and then it gave them the look.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those niggas knew what would happen if they got into those other cities. You know what I'm saying? But then they were willing to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, hey, whatever she's willing to do, I don't know if she does, like, whatever she's done, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, you don't know if it's real, if it's not, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
So when I see it, hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, do your thing.
I know y'all say y'all not flashy, but for a minute, I was seeing y'all doing videos, commercials with all these foreign exotic cars. It was like, so, so break that down.
So I'll give you the exact situation with that. So, we went to the mayor one day and we were kicking it with him and he said to us, he was like, he had built a rugby arena, and what he said to me was like this. He was like, if I was competing against other rugby companies, they would say this isn't good rugby and they might judge me. He was like, but if I offer it to a community that's never seen rugby, they're just going to enjoy it for the entertainment factor.
Yeah.
We ended up going like, okay, well, if you for our whole career, a lot of times we would look at fan bases that everyone probably wouldn't think were rap fan bases.
Yeah. And
we'd be like, yo, like, let's pitch it over here, because if you go towards everybody who's liking the same thing, they're gonna tell you the same thing. Like, all my homies, everybody would say, well, my cousin rap, you know, you need to let him on. You know what I'm saying? So then I was like, well, let's find fan bases that are people that are just here for the entertainment.
Yeah.
So then if I gotta go get tons of girls to come to my shows, and none of the dudes got to come, I'm just going to go sell it to girls. You know what I'm saying? Because I was okay with that, because that's what I wanted anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to sell it to girls, and hopefully they all come to the show. So at one point, we're just going through different fan bases, and we were in New York at one point, and these two dudes from Salt Lake City were in New York at the same time, and they were like, yo, we drive all these exotic cars, but we drive them across America. And they were like, what are y'all doing here? And we were like, at that point, we were going into some labels. And we were like, yo, we're going into some labels and stuff like that. They're like, y'all got some music? We was like, yeah, we got some music. Like, we gave them some free CDs, everything like that. And we were like, yo, like, just hit us up and just tell us what you think about it. You know what I'm saying? Years passed, everything like that. And then they hit us up and they're kind of like, yo, man, we've been listening to that music for years and all this stuff like that. Do you got more? And they're like, come out to Salt Lake and let's get it popping. Like, we have all these cars out here and y'all just get it popping. You know what I'm saying? Y'all bring some nice cars and then we got some nice cars and then let's get it popping. You know? They started throwing these rallies And we started going on these rallies, you know what I'm saying? And we got to a point where we got onto a rally called Corsa, and we would, like perform and everything like that and go to all these places, and it'd be like groups of car people that are like enthusiasts, but they all loved our music. Yeah. So they put the decals, the Top Flight on their cars and drive them around, like, and it'd be like Lamborghinis and
Bugatti,
I've seen all the cars,
Pagani's and stuff like that, and it was just like relentless. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that came, and we were just like, cool. We were like, they were like, yo, make a song, an anthem for us, and then we were like, yo, let's shoot a video, let's put everybody's cars in it, and then
drive road rally,
and we started driving around.
Crazy. Boy, y'all lived a life in y'all young years. Y'all did a whole.
I went to jail in Utah, or no, in Wyoming.
You went to jail in Wyoming from that.
Yeah.
For what?
For speeding.
He actually broke the record for how fast he was moving.
Yeah.
We had to go back for jail.
We got caught up in the life of everything we did, like, you know.
What car was it?
I think at that time it was
like a Mercedes or something that we came back in.
Audi.
Yeah, it might be an Audi.
R8. I don't remember. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was only going like 135 or something. Like, it wasn't too.
But it was the highest that have ever been
on a regular road.
It was a highway.
The highway.
But,
but going over 75 is like. So you go on 130, like that's, you know what I'm saying? That's track, racetrack.
We was in a car that went 180 or 90, and I was like about to shit my pants. I was like, damn.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was some whips that was fast. Yeah, I wouldn't do it again, but we was young then. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was young, living that life, and yeah, he came back and he was driving. And the crazy thing is, the cop came. He was like, "You could have killed your friend." That's the first thing he said. He was like, "You're not worried about him." And all this stuff, and I'm sitting in the seat, the passenger seat's like sleep. Because
it's normally the passenger who died.
We was in a weird place. I was more worried for you at that time.
And then he was like, because we were in like the super backwoods, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, when we get pulled over by the cops, and I'm in the car, we thinking it's about to be me. You know what I'm saying? But he was like, I'm worried about your friend right here, and he was like, you're gonna have to come back up here and go to court. You broke the record for the fastest thing, and then. He ended up having to drive all the way back up to go to court and everything.
That's the worst part of it. Golly. Oh, man. So what's next for y'all musically? What can the fans expect, you know, because that's what got y'all to this moment, you know what I mean? So they going to always want that music, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking forward to some new stuff. So
we were releasing every other week for a minute.
We're going to keep releasing like songs here and there. We're going to start shooting the videos again. And I think we're going to do, like, because it has helped a lot of, like, building the app using us as getting into some of the venues and stuff like that. Like, for instance, like, Meow Wolf has a venue in Colorado, and we sold that out, and we used us to get us into that area. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get back into releasing music. Of course, we always love music, so we're going to get back kind of heavy on it right now and, like, use that as the catalyst to help build some of these situations, even if we're using ourselves to help, like, build another artist to be like, yo, us and him are going into this venue, you know what I'm saying? So then we're gonna start going probably heavy over this next, like probably like next 6 months. We're probably gonna go pretty crazy.
Dope, man.
Mm-hmm. Plus with all these beefs, it kind of sparks the energy again. When you start hearing good music again,
excited. You know what I'm saying?
Makes you want to hit that studio.
Like, I can rap. Like, I'm good.
Man, well, I definitely appreciate y'all coming through, man. This
Pop
has been legendary,
Media,
man. Mm-hmm. For real. Like I said, I've been following y'all for a long time, so the fact that we first meet and, you know, in here is just, you know, crazy. So I definitely appreciate y'all. Y'all definitely got to come through again, you know what I'm saying? Any last minute words you want to say to the people?
We want to build with Pop Austin Media more, man. We really want to connect deeper
we
with
locked
y'all,
in, man. We locked in. Say no more. I wish I didn't even know y'all hit me. That's why when I hit you, I honestly didn't even think you would hit back. I was like, I'm going to just shoot this shot because I saw you was an Austin. I said, let me shoot my shot.
I'm glad you did. Thank you,
I'm glad you did, too, because I seen it right away. And I was like, this is what because as I said, like, we talked to your homie the last time, and we were going to come, but then I got sick a little bit and everything like that, so that didn't work out. But, yeah, I was right away. That's why I hit you right away. I was like, yo, you free tomorrow because I'm about to leave, but let's make it happen, man. So we want to definitely lock in with Pop Austin Media and start collecting these artists, so we can start building it out here.
Actually,
too. You know what I'm saying?
As soon as we get off of, I got I'm gonna talk to you about this opportunity. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's go, man. Thank you for having us. That's really it, man.
For sure.
And by the way, I guess we can say, because the whole time I don't think we really like said who we are. People gonna be like, where are these niggas at? You know what I'm saying? So it's Top Flight Empire FLITE musically. So TOPFLITE is the group name of what we did, because that's what we did all these years musically. And then of course Concert is the app, and it's QONCERT. That's the name of the app. It's on all types of all phones, and then also the website is concertapp.com, and then the Instagram is Concert App. So definitely go check that out if you're an artist or anything like that. Soon there'll be a fan side, so fans can get on there too. And yeah, man,
reach out, man. We trying to
once again.
Let's go.
What's up, man? It's Chris J. Jackin up here at Pop Austin Media, man. If you like that clip, make sure you hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on nothing. Let's go.